Beneath our feet lies an archive far older than civilization, far older even than the mountains themselves. It is a library of stone, each page written not in words but in the imprints of lives that vanished hundreds of millions of years ago. These are the fossils, the preserved echoes of worlds that once thrived, vanished, and were reborn. To touch one is to touch time itself. Every ridge, every grain, every curve of bone or shell is a message from an age when the planet was unrecognizable. Through them, we glimpse oceans that no longer exist, skies with twice the carbon of today, and creatures so alien that imagination struggles to contain them. Fossils are not just remnants of death. They are records of change, proof that Earth has been many worlds, each built upon the ruins of the one before. The story begins in the darkness of deep time. Long before humans learned to write history, the Earth wrote its own. Each volcanic eruption, each flood, each layer of silt became a line in its grand autobiography. Over millions of years, the remains of living things, shells, teeth, feathers, leaves, fell into that story and were buried. Pressure and minerals transformed them into stone. The seas rose and fell, continents drifted apart, and mountains lifted fossils high into the air, waiting for future eyes to find them. They waited patiently, as epochs passed and new worlds rose above their tombs. For centuries, humans noticed these strange stones but misunderstood them. Ancient Greeks thought seashells found on mountaintops were decorations left by gods. In medieval Europe, ammonites, coiled fossils resembling serpents were called snake stones, thought to be petrified creatures cursed by saints. Only in the age of reason did naturalists begin to see what they truly were: relics of once living beings, preserved in layers of deep time. With that realization came a revelation: the Earth was far older and more dynamic than anyone had imagined. Fossils shattered the idea of a static, unchanging world. They revealed a planet in motion, where life itself evolved, adapted, and sometimes vanished entirely. One of the first to grasp this truth was Mary Anning, a self-taught fossil collector from the early 19th century. Along the cliffs of Lyme Regis in southern England, she uncovered skeletons of creatures no one had ever seen before. Ichthyosaurs with long jaws filled with teeth like daggers, and plesiosaurs with serpentine necks that stretched impossibly far. Each fossil she found told of a sea that had once covered England, a sea filled with monsters that ruled long before the first human dream. Her discoveries helped prove that entire ecosystems had come and gone, replaced by others in an endless cycle of creation and extinction. The cliffs she worked on were not just rocks, they were time itself, frozen in layers. To walk through a fossil site today is to step across millions of years with every footfall. In Utah's Morrison Formation, the bones of giant sauropods lie where they fell 150 million years ago, now embedded in walls of red sandstone. In China's Liaoning province, the delicate impressions of feathers reveal that dinosaurs were not reptilian brutes but warm-blooded, bird-like creatures. In the Burgess Shale of Canada, fossils from 500 million years ago capture soft-bodied animals that seem almost extraterrestrial, creatures with 5 eyes, claws that sprouted from their heads, and bodies shaped like leaves. Each site is a portal to a different version of Earth, each fossil a line in the evolving script of life. Fossils do more than tell us who lived and died. They reveal how entire ecosystems worked, what hunted, what hid, what thrived, and what collapsed. A single layer of rock might hold a whole drama: a fish mid-swallowing another fish, a fern leaf pressed beside the footprint of an insect, a dinosaur nest frozen in time as volcanic ash fell. Paleontologists are detectives of the impossible, reading these scenes not through imagination but through evidence. Every fossil is both a clue and a witness. Together, they rewrite prehistory with each new discovery. Some of the most transformative fossils are microscopic. Under powerful microscopes, paleontologists study pollen grains, spores, and microfossils from ocean sediments. These tiny remains record climate shifts that reshape the planet: ice ages, mass extinctions, and rebirths. When researchers drilled into the ocean floor and analyzed ancient microfossils, they uncovered proof of global catastrophes, asteroid impacts, massive volcanic winters, and the rise and fall of entire seas. From the smallest shell to the largest skeleton, fossils remind us that every creature leaves its mark, no matter how small. Then there are fossils that defy explanation. In the deserts of Namibia, footprints from 540 million years ago mark the first evidence of animals moving across solid ground. Before those prints, all life was marine. On the other side of time, in Antarctica, scientists discovered frozen forests, petrified trunks, and leaves still rooted where they once grew, proof that the continent was once lush and warm. And in a limestone cave in Germany, paleontologists found a fossilized dragonfly with a 2-foot wingspan, preserved so perfectly that every vein in its wings remains visible. Each of these discoveries rewrote what we thought we knew about the boundaries of life. Some fossils even capture the moments of extinction themselves. In a quarry near Tanis, North Dakota, a layer of rock preserves the exact day the dinosaurs died. Fossils of fish are found with tiny glass beads, microtectites, embedded in their gills, debris from the asteroid that struck Earth 66 million years ago. Ash, soot, and iridium form a boundary that marks one of the darkest days in Earth's history. It is a graveyard frozen in the moment of impact, a record not of millions of years but of minutes. To see it is to stand at the edge of life and death on a planetary scale. But not all fossils tell stories of destruction. Many speak of resilience, of life's ability to adapt and persist. In South Africa's Karoo Basin, skeletons of times Lystrosaurus, times a small, tusked creature, show that it survived the greatest mass extinction ever recorded, the one that ended the Permian era. When nearly every other animal vanished, Lystrosaurus times endured, burrowing through ash and drought. Its fossils are found across what are now separate continents, proof of both its survival and the ancient connections of Earth's landmasses. Life, the fossils remind us, is stubborn. Every discovery changes the map of prehistory. For generations, scientists believed that mammals only flourished after the extinction of the dinosaurs. Then fossils from China revealed tiny, fur-covered mammals from the Jurassic, some capable of gliding, climbing, and even swimming. They lived in the shadows of giants, adapting in secret while the dinosaurs ruled. Those fossils rewrote an entire chapter of evolutionary history, showing that mammals were diverse and successful long before their famous rise. The stones remember what the textbooks forget. Even the simplest fossil leaf can change how we see the past. Fossilized plants preserve the chemistry of the air they breathed. By analyzing the carbon isotopes trapped inside, scientists can measure ancient CO2 levels and track how climate has shifted over eons. These records show that climate change is not new, but it is faster now than at almost any time in Earth's history. The rocks speak a warning as much as a story. Earth endures, but its life is fragile. There is an artistry to how fossils form, a beauty in their improbable survival. For most living things, death leaves no trace. The fact that any fossil exists is almost miraculous. A creature must die in the right place, at the right moment, under the right conditions, buried quickly, sealed from decay, replaced by minerals grain by grain. What remains is both a portrait and a translation, matter turned into memory. Some are as small as a raindrop, others as vast as a mountain face. Each is a monument to time. The process of reading them is slow, deliberate, almost sacred. In a lab, a paleontologist removes grains of stone with a pin, each flick of the wrist a dialogue with deep time. In a field site, boots crunch over fossil-rich soil where the air hums with heat and history. A brush reveals the curve of a rib, the arc of a tail, the imprint of skin. The scientist's face softens not with pride but with humility. What they hold in their hands is not just a bone. It is a connection to an earth that existed before mammals, before flowers, before mountains took their current shape. In recent decades, technology has given fossils new voices. Synchrotron imaging can detect traces of soft tissue and pigment, revealing the original colors of extinct animals, blues, reds, even iridescent greens. Isotope scans show what they ate and where they migrated. CT scans reconstruct muscles and organs long vanished. Through these methods, the past becomes alive again, not as fantasy but as fact. We can see the stripes on a dinosaur's skin, the hue of a prehistoric bird's feather, the way ancient lungs once drew breath. Each discovery redefines what it means to understand the past. But fossils do not just tell us about the creatures that left them, they tell us about ourselves. They remind us that extinction is not an exception, but a rule that the stability we enjoy is fleeting, and that every age believes it will last forever until it doesn't. They show that survival depends on adaptability, not dominance. And they whisper that even the most powerful beings on Earth are temporary guests in a long, unfolding story. Some fossils remain hidden, waiting for erosion or chance to expose them. Others are lost forever, ground into dust by tectonic shifts or human hands. Yet enough remain to paint a picture of a planet constantly reinventing itself. The Cambrian seas, the Devonian swamps, the Carboniferous forests, the Permian deserts, the Cretaceous plains all gone, yet still here, preserved in stone. Each fossil is a message in a language older than speech, one we are still learning to read. In the end, fossils are less about death than they are about continuity. They are proof that life has endured every disaster, Earth has thrown at it, and that, given time, it always returns. They remind us that the world beneath our feet is alive with memory. When you hold a fossil in your hand, you are holding a moment of life that once breathed, swam, or flew in a forgotten world. It is not just a relic, it is a survivor's story carved in stone. Somewhere in a canyon, under layers of sediment, lies the imprint of a leaf that fell 500 million years ago. It waits, silent, for discovery. When it finally sees sunlight again, it will speak not of what was lost, but of what was found: the persistence of life, the memory of time, and the beauty of a world forever rewriting its own history.